Good morning. My name is Patricia Caballero, and before beginning my presentation, I wish to thank the organizing committee for giving me the opportunity to share with you the Peruvian experience. The national program in Peru was launched in 2004 through the Ministry of Health for uninsured persons living with HIV. It was implemented progressively from Lima, the capital city, to all regions. It is a decentralized system with public hospitals in each region and 5 non-profit clinics. It worked at first with the financial support of the Global Fund and very soon with full public financing. Those are our objectives. Viral suppression is the main indicator in a HAART program, but as therapy continues along the person's life, many efforts should be done to achieve sustained viral suppression. So achieving sustained viral suppression benefits the patients with less morbidity and emergence of resistant viral strains, benefits the community, and is directly related to the program's effectiveness. It is a retrospective observational cohort study in HIV diagnosed adult patients who linked to HAART program between April 2004 and December 2006 and follow up until December 2012. These are the inclusion and exclusion criteria. And the following are important definitions for the study. Patients under treatment who achieved viral suppression are referred to as responders, and the group that never reached it were non-responders. And for purposes of the study, a patient receiving HAART has sustained viral suppression when achieved a viral load equal or less than 400 copies, and maintains this value over time. And it's called interruption of viral suppression if the patient has a viral load more than 400 copies. Note that this is not a viral failure. This is the first episode of interruption registered for a person under treatment. NetLab is our laboratory reporting system. We have used the NetLab as a secondary source of data recorded in routine patient care. We analyzed demographic variables as gender, age, region, healthcare institution, year of HAART, baseline indicators, CD4, viral load, follow-up indicators, time to viral suppression, number of follow-up controls, CD4 recovery with an index maximum versus baseline values, and CD4 nadir. Survival time was measured between the first control with undetectable viral load until the presence of the first interruption of viral suppression. Persons lost to follow-up and those without interruption of viral suppression were censored. For survival analysis, we consider an open data cohort because patients entered at different time according to their access to healthcare services, and in all cases, the final date of observation was the same. Cumulative survival rate was analyzed and Cox models were developed. During the study period, a total of 6,289 persons had access to healthcare settings for pre-HAART evaluation. Only 5,142 linked to care and received HAART. Of these patients, a total of 4,530 achieved viral suppression for variable time and are called responders. 612 patients never achieved viral suppression and are non-responders. Ratio responders to non-responders is 7.4 at the national level, but in Lima, for example, more than 50% were responders, and there existed also differences according to the site of care. For example, better in the coast, better in hospitals and in clinics. By sex, females, 87.5% responders, males, 88.4% responders, and by age, those with 18 to 29 years old at the beginning of the treatment, 83.3% responders. According to bivariate analysis, Considering with or without interruption of viral suppression, we found association with gender, age, healthcare settings, viral load baseline, CD4 nadir, and time to viral suppression. This value indicates the probability that a patient survived with viral suppression for each period of time until the end of the interval. Here, in absolute numbers, we can see the number of responder patients who continued with viral suppression over time. According to Kaplan-Meier, we see lower survival times in younger patients with 30 to 39 years old and those with less than 6 controls. And we see lower survival time in patients without a CD4 recovery index, less than 1, and people in prisons. According to adjusted Cox model, there is a lower risk of interruption of viral suppression in patients within the following characteristics. Men ratio CD4 maximum to baseline more than 1, CD4 nadir between 200 to 350 or more than 300, and patients linked to public or public health care facilities. And in addition, there is a higher risk in younger patients between 18 to 29 or 30 to 39 years old at the beginning of treatment. As limitations, data was obtained from secondary source without clinical information. So, as I mentioned, this is not virologic failures. Other Latin American countries have similar studies. They used routinary information systems or clinical records. The common characteristic is the intention to evaluate virologic response over time as an indicator. And each study defined virologic failure in different way. Our common results with other countries, younger patients have more risk of interruption of viral suppression. The other studies presented the same group with virologic failure. Also, women are in disadvantage compared with men, and no association was found with baseline CD4 and viral load and time to viral suppression according to Kaplan-Meier. Finally, I wish to thank my co-researchers from Fiocruz, the support of the Institute of Tropical Medicine of the National University of San Marcos, my university, and National Institute of Health, where these studies are conducted to support decisions of the National HIV/AIDS program in the Ministry of Health. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you. This paper is open for discussion. Questions from the audience first? Any questions from the panel?
Okay, sorry. I was just wondering, in your survival analysis models, I wonder if in future work you might treat death as a competing event.
Please, can you repeat?
Death as a competing event in the survival analysis for time until loss of viral suppression. I mean, I wouldn't think it should be a very strong competing event because these are all people who are virally suppressed, but I think that would be a consideration.
Yeah, it's true. As I mentioned, we used the laboratory reporting system. Actually, for the Ministry of Health, we have more than one information system. There is not only one system, and this is the only is the more completed database that we have actually. But we cannot have information about the date of death. And inclusive, inclusively, from hospitals, it is very difficult to obtain this data because physicians don't know always if their patients have that. Yeah.
Any more questions from the audience or the panel? I just have one quick follow-up to that one. I was wondering if it's compulsory to report. Is it required or compulsory for the laboratories to report? And if so, if not, how complete is your laboratory reporting?
How is the process?
Are your labs required to report? And if not, how complete is that data set?
This data is registered through the internet. So NetLab is the system's name. It's a nationwide information system. For example, in every hospital, patients have attention. Blood samples or plasma samples are obtained. Samples are processed in one laboratory, maybe the regional laboratory or maybe our laboratory in Lima. Codification and results are registered in the internet system. And physicians and also patients with an user and password with confidentiality can access to the system, and they can see the results and make decisions for their own patients. Each physician has a user and password and can only see the results of his patients, not the other hospital. Each patient can see his own results. And the Ministry of Health can see all the results.
Thank you.
I just wanted to find out what type of support your patients in your national program actually receive to improve adherence and clinic visits, and whether there's variation across the country on how this is delivered and how that is captured within your data system, if there's a linkage to that.
Yes.
To help improve the standard of care.
Well, we have national guidelines, and according to these, we have especially guidelines for adherence. Our results demonstrated, no results of this study, but results of the national program, are that adherence, according to their indicators, are more than 90%. But actually, the national programs will improve. They are planning to improve the guidelines and the way that they use to measure adherence.
Great. Any last questions before we give one final round of applause?